All right, so move on to the next segment. I'll be sharing my fight summary on the fight that took place at UFC 311 between Jiri Prochazka and Jamahal Hill. So this was a fight that took place on the UFC 311 card. Jiri Prochazka defeated Jamahal Hill by knockout in the third round on this UFC 311 card. So my fight summary for you guys. Look, when I'm right, I talk about it. When I'm wrong, I talk about it. And I had a bad a bad week in the office last week, going over film, preparing to give you guys a fight summary for this fight between Jiri Prochazka and Jamahal Hill, because I really thought that Jamahal Hill would go out there and knock out Jiri Prochazka. I thought Jamahal Hill would be the faster fighter in this fight, having the boxing background. I thought he would be way faster than what he was supposed to be counterpunching, but it was all the opposite. It was Jiri Prochazka's world. It was a belt-to-ass performance. Not only was Jiri Prochazka the one to knock out Jamahal Hill, but he was faster counter-striking. He was landing the more significant strikes, which Jamahal Hill was hurt and dazed by the time it was the third round before he got his lights put out. I mean, Jiri Prochazka was just a more dangerous fighter. He was more aware defensively as well. That's another downside that Jamahal Hill has to work on if he ever wants to be a threat again at this light heavyweight division. But Jiri Prochazka just outclassed him, and he controlled the pace of the fight. He was in control for all three rounds. And then at times it looked like Jiri Prochazka was just playing with him, waiting for the right moment to put him away. But then by a blink of an eye, snap of a finger, Jiri Prochazka landed those combinations, put Jamahal Hill on the ground. Jamahal Hill is still trying to he's trying to backtrace his steps, sliding and back retreating like he's playing Call of Duty Zombies on his back, still trying to retreat. But Jamahal Hill got him, hit him with some punches on the ground, and that was a wrap. The white flag was waved, and Jiri Prochazka won the fight by knockout. So, Jiri Prochazka, if you ever see this, I'm sorry. I doubted your abilities. But at the same time, I know a lot of people were telling me Jiri Prochazka was winning this fight, but you guys got to see where I'm coming from as well. Both of these guys were tailor-made. This fight was tailor-made for somebody to get knocked out. I mean, if you look on their abilities, Jamahal Hill has the better boxing abilities, but it just turned out Jiri Prochazka he's better at landing significant strikes, power punches, counter-punching skills, being alert defensively, controlling the pace of the fight, and he just took it to Jamahal Hill for all three rounds. There's nothing that Jamahal Hill could have done defensively better. I mean, I did see him try to, at some point, correct me if I'm wrong here, either towards the end of round one or round two, he tried to do some grappling. I do believe he was trying to land a takedown. Why wasn't that the game plan throughout? Two guys that like to strike. Somebody could have had the game plan of going to the ground a couple times to throw him off on their approach offensively, but it was all Jiri Prochazka's world. It was not a damn thing that Jamahal Hill could have done about it. But there's something that needs to be said, because the elephant in the room here with this fight between Jiri Prochazka and Jamahal Hill was it was an unofficial loser's bracket to what Alex Pereira had done to both of them in 2024. Knocked out Jamahal Hill and Jiri Prochazka. Jiri Prochazka, that was the second time that he was knocked out by Alex Pereira, because Alex Pereira knocked him out at UFC 298 at the end of 2023. So I thought it was funny that the UFC cameras put it on. I saw it on social media. The UFC cameras put it on Alex Pereira, and Alex Pereira said, "Hey, my kids, stop fighting. Don't let me take my belt off," because in his way, he's the father of both of these fighters for knocking him out in 2024. So, hey, I thought this was pretty funny. The official Alex Pereira losers bracket is official. Jiri Prochazka can now move on away from Jamahal Hill, knocking him out in the third round to gain some momentum to get back to the top or back into title contention at this light heavyweight division. So, what's next for Jiri Prochazka? I think Jiri Prochazka will be, he was a second-rate contender at the light heavyweight division heading into this fight. So he's going to be paying attention to the fight that was announced at UFC 311 during the fight card a fight that would be taking place March 8th at the light heavyweight division with Alex Pereira defending the light heavyweight title against Mohamed. That's a huge fight. Mohamed is the current #1 contender, and that's going to have a lot of controversy to see Alex Pereira's true chess against a true wrestling grappler in the UFC. Yes, Alex Pereira is a top 3 pound-for-pound star. However, you have the UFC pound-for-pound rankings, but he has never been tested against a wrestler in the UFC. His wins against Sean Strickland, not a wrestler. Israel Adesanya, not a wrestler. Jiri Prochazka, not a wrestler. Jamahal Hill, not a wrestler. Mohamed is a dangerous threat for Alex Pereira. So this could possibly shake up the light heavyweight division. And even though Jiri Prochazka has lost twice to Alex Pereira, he has to be thinking about, hey, can I defeat one of these guys, Alex Pereira, that I've lost to twice, or Mohamed, who could be a true threat if he does get past Alex Pereira and give him fits on the ground grappling, because he has not been tested against a true grappler yet in the UFC. 2-division world champion, yes, but he has not defeated a true grappler or somebody that can mix it up grappling and wrestling yet. But all those questions are going to be answered March 8th once Alex Pereira and Mohamed fight each other. But a closeout, what's next for Jamahal Hill? I don't know what's next for Jamahal Hill. I mean, I did say heading into this fight, the loser of this fight should probably consider moving up to heavyweight division. Based off of Jamahal Hill and Jiri Prochazka being former light heavyweight champions in their own right, stripped of the titles due to being, or were forced to vacate, I should say, vacate the titles due to being injured and unable to defend the titles. But Jamahal Hill has lost 2 back-to-back big fights. Knocked out in the main event of UFC 300 in the first round to Alex Pereira. Now you just got steamrolled against Jiri Prochazka on the UFC 311 card. And he was the 3rd-ranked contender heading into this fight. Now he's going to go down in the rankings. I don't know. I mean, he might have to consider a move to heavyweight because, again, the top 3 guys at this division, Alex Pereira, you ain't beating him. Mohamed, you damn sure ain't beating him. Jiri Prochazka seems like he beats you 9 times out of 10. So, hey, he just looked a little too slow. Reaction time was slower. Maybe he could benefit being a heavyweight. But that is my UFC 311 fight summary between Jiri Prochazka and Jamahal Hill.